Today I'm just going to be talking to you about digital tools, and I don't usually like to leave the slide up, but I will do today for all of the post capture viewers. So a little bit about me, I suppose, and why should I be talking to you about all of this stuff. One of my main roles here in Kununurra is as a business advisor, and my focus is on small and micro business and startups and so forth. And I have long been known as the local nerd in both Wyndham and Kununurra in the 20-odd years that we've lived here. And that's stemmed out of me having to grow up in a not-for-profit space where we didn't really have a large budget for tech support, for troubleshooting, and for digital marketing and so forth. So those are the things that I've become proficient at. I'm far from an expert, but I'm proficient at, and that's sort of helped me a lot in running my own small business, and I provide support for other startups and so forth with low budgets to get started. So basically I know how to Google, and I'm a bit stubborn, so that's my claim to fame, I suppose. So today what we are going to talk about is we're going to have a look at a few different bits and pieces over the course of the next hour. I'm going to be looking at what sort of digital tools I usually recommend for small businesses, and they are everything from creativity and design tools to using the latest and greatest in creating copy, which is the fancy marketing speak for writing the words to go with your social media posts or with your to build your website, etc. And I'm also going to provide a few little tips about how you can maximise your impact with your social media and so forth. So the other hot topic that I'd really like to talk to everyone about today is also online safety and security, because that is a big topic. Cyber safety is and should be first and foremost in everybody's mind. And when we're running a small business, we're generally looking after our clients' personal information as well. And so we'll have a look at some of the things that you can do to keep your business safe as well as your clients' information safe. And that's everything from, device security to solid passwords. Bane of everyone's existence, I know, but a necessary evil in today's digital space at least, and also the updates. So, okay. So first of all, I'd like to talk about Canva, because this is probably one of my most favourite tools for small businesses. Now, you can use Canva for free, but it's also a relatively low cost option. Even if you just wanted to use it for a month at a time, you can get away with it for under $20, get a few things smashed out for a month and then sort of pause it a bit. So there's some good flexible options for businesses who don't have large budgets for things and digital tools and so forth. So, but what is Canva? Basically, it's being your own graphic designer. It's something that sadly might do people like Nick out of a job a little bit, but it's not going to.
That's never going to happen.
Sorry?
That's never going to happen. We can't.
No, that's right. We're always going to need Nicole's, because unless you're creative yourself or have an eye, it can be a little bit challenging. But Canva's fantastic because it does help to sort of give you the basics of design. So, and there are a lot of templates and things like that in there, which we might go and have a quick look at in a little minute. We're going to have a quick look at some of the other tools in the Canva kit. So I'll bring that display up shortly. We're also going to have a look at how we can put our logos into Canva so that we can get brand consistency across any of our social media content that we're creating. But it doesn't have to just be for social media content. We can create written and hard copies. They do now also offer a print service, so that's a really good option for us to sort of think about and have some options to print out flyers or posters, etc., if we need to print in bulk and stuff. The prices aren't too bad too, so it's good to know. What else have we got in there? the brand kit, which I was talking about, which helps us keep our colours on track and our fonts and everything, so that we've got consistency. And when we're building a brand, that's an important thing. So I bet if I showed you the Coca-Cola logo, you'd know who it was and what it meant straight away, because that brand has been first and foremost in our minds for a very, very long time. So obviously, as new businesses, we need to take a little bit of time to get things into people's mindsets. But yeah. We'll have a quick look at the templates, and we'll have a look at how we can tie it into our social media platforms. So we are able to, with the paid version, add in our content planning calendar, so we don't have to be sitting there at 5 a.m. if that's the best time to be posting things. We can schedule those posts to go out so that we're not having to be on there all day, every day, to make sure that our things are going out. You can make slideshows, so you don't have to have PowerPoint or Keynote or any of those other things. You can make slideshows in there. You can even do videos there, and they've started plugging in artificial intelligence for image creation as well as copywriting in there as well. So we can create all sorts of things in Canva. So just touching on some of the content that we can create. So social media posts, we've mentioned those already. We can make slideshows and videos out of there. We can do how-to videos as well in there. They've even got this cool little picture-in-picture. We can create infographics, so if you need to put out just a little DL flyer, which is 1/3 of an A4 standard piece of paper, which I don't have a piece of paper here on me to show you, but you can create those little infographics that need to be going out if you are putting out information about something in particular for your business, or if you wanted to share some sort of information. So for Rotary, for example, is one of my examples. If we are putting out a request for people, or an interest evening for membership drives, etc., we can put a couple of short, sharp facts about Rotary on there and print those out. And that looks really nice, because the graphic design templates really help us to keep on brand and within range too. So you can even use it to edit your images, so you're not needing to go and drop big dollars on products like Photoshop, etc. anymore. And also that next level skill set for things like Photoshop, this is much easier to do. And they're adding new apps into the background of Canva that help us do all of these things pretty much on a daily or weekly basis. So you never know, there's always new things popping up in there. So we also have a whole bunch of templates. And what does templates mean? It's, so for example, you don't have to go and research in Google what size you need to create a banner for your Facebook page, or you don't need to know what size is optimal to produce a heading for your LinkedIn story or something like that. So they're all in there ready to go, and that makes life a lot easier for people when they're trying to create different types of content. And you can also create the piece of content in one particular sizing, and then you can copy and resize it into the other, so it's perfect for every platform. So you're getting a bit of extra grunt for your copy, or for your content. You don't you can post the same content on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, etc. However, you might tweak the language slightly for LinkedIn as you would on Facebook, and those sorts of things are important to keep in mind. And then the sizes of your images or your videos that are going out, you can resize and copy so that they're optimal for each of those platforms. So templates are really great. They've got all sorts in there. So, whoops. As I mentioned before, we can connect to other accounts. What does that mean? That means that I can connect to my Facebook page, not my personal profile, but my Facebook business page. I can connect to my LinkedIn page or profile. I can connect to Twitter and Instagram and all of those sorts of socials, so that you can schedule it and you can see in one spot where everything is. So we'll go and have a proper look at all of these things once I've finished going through these slides. So so you can sign up for full functionality for free if you're running a not-for-profit, but for small businesses, it's about $200 for the year, or under $20 for a month if you need to just use it for a month, and then off you go. So I'll talk about social media in a minute, but let's go and have a quick look at Canva. So this is my Canva login. I'm assuming that that's come up on that same screen that I'm sharing. So you can see in here there's a lot going on, and you can see that I've got a few bits and pieces in under the recent designs. So I have got adverts that we create for a not-for-profit that I do a lot of work for, and you can see that what we've been doing with these ones, this is a little just a little square that we put out in our blog post to advertise when we're having a clubs forum. And you can see in here all of those parts are in there. We used a template. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen, there are templates in there that we can use, and we can create either use that as our exact template, or we can bring the template over and we can tweak it. So you can see as I'm hovering, you've got the little purple, the boxes that come around. So those are the individual pieces in there that we move around. So if anyone's ever used something like Publisher in the past, this is quite similar in that you've got to interact with each of the elements, and you can layer things so that it makes it sort of fit in properly. So we've got the pictures that sort of sit in the background and they're in frames, so you can make them into specific shapes, etc. So you can see there we just do a duplicate, which is as easy as if we scroll down to here. So this was the one that we've just done. So if I duplicate here, it's so simple. I can change that to that will be the August one. And then I need to just change what the topic's going to be, which we don't know what that is yet, so I can't change it. And then I change the date to the August date, and I would change this image in here to the presenter or an icon for the topic that we're going to be talking to for that particular month. So that's as simple as that one is. If I wanted to create something new, for example, say, for example, I'm creating a Facebook post, you can see here that the landscape comes up perfectly. If I wanted to create a logo for my new tiny business, or if I'm not too sure if my business is can afford to have a graphic designer do it, this is something that might get you through in the interim until you've got a budget there to go and have it reworked. So you can see we've got the cover, Facebook cover. So that's the part that goes across the top of our Facebook page. You can see we've got a presentation. We can even go to Zoom virtual backgrounds. There's videos there. That's in high def. So if you need to create a video, we could click on that one. And you can use the video library that they have, or if it's something that you've recorded yourself, you can bring that in, and you can see there's a little video editor down the bottom here. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. And even for those of you who are doing how-tos, so if you're maybe trying to teach people how to create art or something along those lines, you could video your process with your smartphone. You just make sure that that's horizontal when you're filming, which means that it's that way when you're filming and not that way, and then that would fit perfectly into that particular format and that sizing. And then there's also a picture-in-picture option in there as well, so you could then go and record yourself talking it through, and you could pop yourself up in this little top corner here and dictating across or voice-overing there. Or if you're a bit camera shy, there's even artificial intelligence generated people that you can put in there, and artificially generated voices that you can put in there, all built into Canva these days as well. So you don't have to put your face out there if you don't want to. So there's a lot in here that you can use, and you can see there's this little Canva assistant. That's a relatively new introduction. So there's a magic Wright. So this is using something else that we're going to have a bit more of an in-depth look at shortly. And Magic Write is artificial intelligence or machine learning writing. So it says brainstorm. So we put 5 words in there. So for example, we want to write an article about Kimberley, Indigenous. Oh, if I could spell and type. Oh my goodness. Business. So let's generate something. So it's going to talk about Kimberley. So we need to teach ourselves how to ask it in the right way to get the results that we want for these things. So just we'll talk a bit more about that when we're looking at Canva.
It's mind-blowing stuff, really.
It's absolutely amazing, Tash. I just love it. So we'll have a bit more of an in-depth look at ChatGPT by itself a little bit later in the hour. But yeah, so these are these are just some starting points that you sort of can use in Canva. You can even write Word documents or anything like that in here as well. So these are all tools at our disposal, and I think that this one you can use in the free version, but don't quote me, I haven't had the free version for a little while, because for me it's well and truly worth the $200 a year odd that I pay for Canva for things. So yeah, that just goes, and you can see that one's 5 seconds. You can see that I can add another page in there. Let's pop that one in there and see what that does. So it just plays the video. So, I mean, it might just be a video that's going into your socials, or it might be adding to a presentation that you're doing. There's a whole bunch of things that you could do with this. So realistically, it's your not your creativity, but your mind is the limit, Think about what you need to put in there. And you can see up here, we can change colors, we can edit the video, we can crop, flip, there's all of these tools up here, and they're pretty simple language used in here, which is what I really love, because it makes sense. And if you're not sure what it means by the icon, you can just hover and you can see it pops up and tells you what it means, and you can lock things, etc. in there. Okay, so that's what was the other one that I talked about on there? Sorry, I was talking about now my computer's decided it's not going to go back to that. Templates, content. Okay, so uploading is quite easy. I can file things away in projects. As you can see, I have an assistant that helps me out with some of the creative stuff, and that person is not in the Kimberley, so we put things into folders, and we go through, say for example, if we're going through ASCA things, we put them in the month so that I know what's been used in the past and what's available and so forth. So you can see some of our content that we've created and things that we've used for some of our social media posts are in folders, so that they're not cluttering up the recent. So we can go through the folders and have a look, and it's a similar filing structure to if you're on your computer and you're putting things into files and folders and whatnot. But the most recent things, which this is the one that we've just looked at, so you can see that pops up in the top, so it makes it easier to find the things that you've been working on most recently. So and then if I just go back to the apps, the Brand Hub, I'll just touch on that one quickly. So the Brand Hub is where you have all of your logos and your colors and your fonts installed. Again, this is a paid feature, but there is a 30-day free trial, so maybe pop in and sign up for the 30-day free trial and see if it's for you. And then you can use the Brand Hub and get your brand all sorted. And then if you decide that it's outside of your budget, you can pause it. The brand stuff should still be in there. But then if you need to use a paid feature and you don't have the $200 budget, which I know things can be tight when you're running a small business, you can turn it on for a month at a time, perhaps, and just use what you need to use in that month and then turn it off again. So you can see here we've got Rotary. We've got all of our Rotary we've got lots of different logos for Rotary. So there's quite a few in there. You can see that there's not really a limit, but ideally you just have your logos in there and your colours. So if I was to head back to my brand hub for my business, you can see I've got my logos in there. I've got them in a few different formats. I like to have this one I call reverse. It's just a white version of it with a clear background. This is the full colour in a square. This is it not so much in a square but in a longer version. So I just have a few different, and I picked out 3 colours. So the pink, the grey and the white were my 3 main colours, and then I've added a black and a slightly lighter grey in there as well. So it's that old principle of keep it simple, stupid, so that you're not sort of overwhelming things. And since I've added my fonts and so forth in here, they've added more levels in there. It used to be a heading, a subheading and body text only, which was the 3, again that principle of 3, but now they've got others. So you can see here I can edit that, so but I'm going to leave that obviously. But if I wanted to have a title font, I can come in and I can choose from an extensive list, or if I want I can upload a font. That again is a paid function. So you have to have the paid subscription to be able to do that. But there are a lot of options in there already. So I would suggest anyone who's interested in having a look at Canva, jumping in there, accessing the free 30-day trial and having a play around with it. If anyone wants any support or help with that, part of my role with the Kimberley Small Business Support means that you can book a session with me that can be one-to-one for any small businesses, and we can go over whatever topics you need me to go over. And if it's just a bit more of an in-depth dive into Canva and how to, then you're more than welcome to book me for an hour or so for that, so that there's ongoing support. And I can, no matter where you are in the Kimberley, you can either Zoom or Teams or FaceTime or any of those things, or we can meet face to face if you happen to be in Kununurra. So there's a whole bunch of us around for small business advice as well. Now, that was the brand hub. I also want to take you back to the content scheduling calendar, because that's one of my favorite things that it does here. So this is the content planner. Now I am working with a couple of other not-for-profits, and so you can see there's a lot of stuff in here, and we are using just the days of, like the World Chocolate Day. If it's a slow news week, we'll use that to put some stuff out and just to share a bit of the love around. And you can see there's a difference there. It's LinkedIn, or if it's Facebook, or if it's Instagram, those posts go out. And you can see here we've got some scheduled coming up. So there's apparently there's Pajama Day. So we're going to talk about working from home in your pajamas for the small business mob. There's also a food and wine show down in Perth. So we're sort of targeting that information at some of our hospitality type small businesses in the Kimberley. You can see there's one coming up on Monday, World Emoji Day. So if you're a bit sort of stuck for ideas, this can be a nice way to sort of jump in and see if you've got some, a bit of writer's block or anything too. So, and it's as simple as, say, for example, I want to put a post on here for me today. So I do have a few in there. So I could, what can I post for my business? Where am I? Oh, I can't even see there I am. I can write my caption in here. I can go and collect from any one of those recent projects, or I can search through there, or I can create a new design. So if it's a Facebook post, I can pop that in there. And over in the templates, I can have a quick look through here and see, there we go, there's a webinar class 1, yay. We're not doing how to make money online. I could change all those words in there and say, what a great day I've spent with the people at BBY, giving some hints and tips to manage digital tools for small businesses in the Kimberley, and then I could schedule that to go out later this afternoon or first thing tomorrow morning. I could put my picture in there instead of this lady who is just part of the stock library, etc. So there's a whole bunch of things that we can do in here, which is really handy and good. Right, so let's jump back to the keynote, which is here. I'll just skip through, sorry folks, just bear with me. Rightio, so we've had a look at templates. Sarah and Tash, does anyone have any questions while we're...
No, looking good.
Yeah, excellent.
No, I'm all good, thanks. I've used Canva before, but not for a while. It's amazing what you can do in there.
The AI stuff, you can create images in there. So text to image, ask it to create something. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But Nick, do you think that people who are a little bit more creative in nature go for Canva? Because Canva doesn't really appeal to me. Like just to try and get in there and operate it and learn how it works and play around. There's actually hours and hours.
Can be.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that people are wanting to learn because it's quick and it's easy. And, you know, I just think that the basics, people get the basics, but there's a whole lot more to it that you don't actually get or see or understand when it comes to things like elements and searching for particular words and stuff like that. So,
Yes.
yeah, I think more and more people are jumping on and using it.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's just making everything, whether it's personal or business, a lot easier.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have a question. I need to order some business cards and I'm happy to design them in Canva. Can you order through Canva?
Can, yep, let me just show you. Yeah, I'll go back to design. So you, in the design, if you type in business cards, it will come up. So do you want square ones? Do you want US portrait, landscape? And it gives you the sizes once you hover. So 8.5 by 5 is a pretty standard price. You can have rounded corner landscape, portraits. So that's up, you know, long ways and so forth. So let's go to the 85 by 50, which is 8.5 by 5. So you can see there it's got the little bits pulled out of the side so that you don't put your content there, obviously, because it's going to be printed. So and then up here is the print business card. So there are templates across the side there. So if you want something that's a little bit, you know, minimalist, or if you want something that's a bit involved, etc., you can have a look through here. So let's just go and put the card, this one, in. Once you've clicked on the design that you want, obviously you can come in here and go Tic Tac gardening for, you know, just for fun. And then you can change your colours around, so just by shuffling, so you get to see. Or if you're not a fan of that, you can click up here and go and pick from the, see, it picks the colours out of the photos and the images that you've got on there. I quite like this green, so we'll make that bar the green. And then the text, we can also do the same. We can pick, or we've got our own brand kits up here, easily accessible. So you can see that they're there. That's probably not a nice colour, but anyway. So you can put all of that information in, add the next page, which will be your background, and then you've got your colours again. Again, just selecting the content in there. And if you're not happy with the colours that it's picked, you can pick them from in there. So the little the text colour, when you hover, it tells you which one you're after. And we've got black there. And you can change those fonts if you're not a fan, but it's probably easiest to stick with what they've got, so that you're not mixing and matching too much. So yeah, and then up here is your print options. So once you're in here, Sarah, you can have a look and see what do you want? You want front and back, obviously. You can select your paper type, standard paper or premium, and it gives you a bit of a rundown of the 240 to 325 or 325 to 350. Do you want matte, gloss or uncoated? And do you want, so $19 for 50 is pretty reasonable price. But of course, as you go higher with your print run, the price comes down. So $30 for 100 of them is not too bad. 40 for 150, etc., etc. And then of course, well, it says free delivery, but just be careful with that with us in the Kimberley, that we can often get caught out with that. So yeah, the prices are not too bad for us, because even if I was to print those out myself and then have to cut them and all of that sort of stuff, I think the price would be way higher than that. So yeah, does that answer your question? All right, we'll go back to
Natika, can I ask a question in regards to AI?
yes.
I'm creating an animation for the Australian Electoral Commission. Like, it's a 5-minute animation, just literally talking about how the political system works. It's obviously aimed at Aboriginal people in the Kimberley. At the very end, I want a slideshow that comes up that gives a bit of an inspirational little summary of us as an Australian democracy, and that, you know, Australia is owned by everybody, but acknowledging that Aboriginal people were the first of Australia. Like, can AI help me with that? Because I just feel like I can't. Can I write something up and then have AI tweak it?
As in the words you want it tweaked?
The words. I want words.
Oh, yeah.
You just popped in Kimberley Indigenous businesswoman and it just pops up with something, you know?
Yes. So let me okay, so shall we jump straight to the Chat GPT? Because I think most people are aware of what social media is. I was just going to give the quick overview of, you know, you share good news stuff, you can advertise things.
Well, go ahead and do that, Nick, because because people really do need help with that. I find that a lot of our Aboriginal audiences are really struggling to separate their family, their private Facebook pages with their business ones. They don't understand. You've got to have different content.
Yes, yeah. So I like to explain the difference between having a website for your business and having social media for your business, as the difference from people standing at your shop front looking in the window, that's your website. They're having a look to see who you are, what you sell or what you do, and they also want to know how to get in touch with you from the website. So that's your anchor, I suppose. That's your shop that you build on the internet. Social media is more like when they open the door and they come in and they want to have a yarn over the counter. So if you are having social media platforms and you post stuff, but then you don't engage with your audience, they're coming in and standing at the counter and just talking to themselves. So it's an important part of social media for us to interact with the audience and to generate the conversations, I suppose. And to do that, it's getting trickier and trickier, because people are a bit sort of overwhelmed and oversaturated, I suppose, with social media. They're generally there to zone out and chill out. So trying to do the hard sell all the time is not necessarily the best thing. People like to connect with a brand, and they like to understand the personality and the mindset of the brand. I think I've got builders next door. So it's important. That's an important part of us having that conversation with our clients or with our audience when we're on social media. And like Tash said,
sorry to interrupt for a sec. Sorry, I've got a bus load here, so I'm going to have to watch the rest later.
That's
thanks,
okay,
Natika.
Sarah. No worries. Thanks for joining.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Yeah. So basically, when you are running a Facebook page, for example, a page is for a business. Your personal profile is sharing family photos and stuff like that. And you should lock those down as much as you possibly can, because you don't need everybody having access to your personal information. So a business page is a great option to be able to build your business identity and your brand and your tone. And when we're talking small businesses like ours or like mine, it's more about you, who you are and your mindset. So there can be a fine line, but on my business pages, I generally put things that, I mean, I don't have a very visual business. My business is sitting on a computer most of the day, or sitting in front of a screen, or helping people with their technology. So every now and then I'll take a photo and I'll ask permission from my clients if I can take photos and if they can go on the social media pages that I'm running. And so that's me sharing some of the things that I do, because some people might not know exactly what I do, and they might see a picture of me helping someone with their iPhone or their new there's these new little it's called a Zolio. It connects your phone to a satellite regardless of where you are, so you can send text messages back if you're out in the middle of nowhere with no mobile signal. So safety. Some people might not have thought, oh, I didn't know Tech Solutions could do that. So they might see that and go, oh, well, we can go and speak to her if we don't know how to do that. So they're a useful way of showcasing your product and your service as to an audience that might not understand exactly what you do. So it's a really important thing for you to remember to take pictures. That's a hard thing to do sometimes. If you're a creative and you're making art or creating art and that's your business and you're selling that, then you've got a very rich well to draw from, I suppose, for your content. You can take time-lapse videos of you creating. You can take pictures of your finished pieces. Just do be aware of putting that out there, etc. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do to create content for your business page. And remember that.
Sorry. What's the danger of putting up negative stories? Like, what's the danger of putting up complaints or sharing something that someone's not happy with? You know what I mean? Like, because I see people doing it and I think, oh, I don't know that that's a really great approach, and I try and encourage them to maybe not focus on those things.
Yeah, look, I think you need to acknowledge negative feedback. If I look at a page and it's got 100% perfect ratings all the time, I think, nah, that's not true. No one's perfect all of the time. So you're going to get good and bad. You're never going to be able to please all of the people all of the time.
Yeah.
My golden rule is you don't argue with people online.
Yeah.
You respectfully state your position if you feel that that's going to be of benefit. Kindness is my biggest driver, I think. So you've got to take into mind that you never know what people are going through. So what's pushing them to fight it out on social media is never going to be a good thing. So it can fire you up, and it can pull on the feelings, and it can be quite traumatic as a business owner.
Yeah.
But try not to take it to heart. It's easier to say that than it is to do that. And I still get things sometimes that sort of frighten, like challenges me. My suggestion, if you do get negative feedback on social media, don't necessarily take it down unless there's bad language or something like that that's offensive, or if the original, or if the poster is putting illegal content or something like that up there, then definitely take that down. But it's a good practice to always say, we're really sorry you feel about that. Please get in touch with us so that we can understand what the issue is, and put it back in their court. Yes. Because 99% of the time, I can guarantee you that people that are airing their dirty laundry on Facebook or something like that don't have the guts to talk to you about the issue. They don't really want a resolution. They just want an audience.
I think that's what I've experienced too, for sure.
Yeah. So if people really have an issue and want a resolution, they should go straight to the business and put it across and tell them that, this has upset me because, or I'm not happy with this because, and then the business is in a situation to work with them and to turn that around. It's an opportunity for you as a small business. But again, as a small business, we're the cook, we're the cleaner, we're the, we take the garbage out. There's a whole bunch of hats that we wear. So it can be, you really have to be in that right mental space to deal with people and when they're unhappy. So, and it is a definite skill that we need to pick up and learn. So, yeah. But it's definitely a good spot to tell your story. And if people are, getting up and constantly negative, then just block them off your page. If you're not going to get it, if you put the responsibility back on them to come and speak to you if they have an actual issue and they don't take that up and they consistently posting things, then definitely worth taking them down. So, all right. So, yeah, so you need to think about who you want to talk to on your social media platforms. Are you talking to government? Are you talking to big business? Are you talking to small business? Are you talking to young people, families, older ladies, younger ladies, men, boys? So you've got to have an understanding of where they're hanging out so that you can create your platforms in that space and get yourself upskilled so that you can hang out in that space as well. So that can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So yeah, definitely there's a few of us around in the Kimberley Small Business Support that can help you out with working out who your audiences are and that sort of stuff. So yeah. Find out where they are, what they like doing, what their interests are, try and sort of create content that talks to them so that they're going to engage with your page. So yes, we can promote good news, we can promote our services, we can reach lots of people quickly. I was surfing this morning just before we came online and I noticed that the Kununurra Visitor Centres quickly found out that the Ivanhoe Crossing's open today. So they've quickly shared that, and that's been a great bit of content for them to share because we've got lots of people in town at the moment. They're all hanging out to do the iconic crossing of the Ivanhoe, etc., etc. So that was a really quick, easy way to raise their brand in the minds of people that are travelling on a couple of community groups that are around. So there's a Gibb River Travellers group that people that are playing. There's 46,000 people in that group. They're either aspirational travellers or they're currently here and they're asking questions on, surprise, surprise, road closures at the moment. And so by the visitor centre popping that post in there, they've jumped up into the forefront of everyone's mind. So it was a really clever share.
That was the Kununurra Visitor Centre you're saying got 46,000 followers.
No, the Kununurra Visitor Centre posted in a group for people that are planning and travelling the Gibb River Road. There's 46,000 members in that group.
Yeah, I've got to find that group. Okay, yep.
Yeah, it's an incredible number. I doubt that that'll all be in there all of the time, but people that are here, that's where they go to get their local info so they don't have to join, follow all of these other local stuff. So your content can be photos, that can be videos, you can share links, you can just use words if you want. And then it goes back to how do you make it, and of course we look at things like Canva, standard photos, using your smartphone for recording videos, etc. We've got a full TV studio in our hands these days, most of us. If we've got a Samsung or an iPhone or an Oppo or anything like that, the cameras are amazing. You can record in 4K. You just need to consider keeping the background a little bit quieter and put yourself, like Tash, you're a superstar at putting yourself out in beautiful locations and just having a yarn with someone. And as a general rule, I know you're a rule breaker, Tash, because the video should only be a minute and a half. But if you've got stuff to say that people are interested in, then you're going to capture them. So
I definitely try to keep it 3 minutes max. I know the rules about video, but if you're telling a story, you can't get it shorter than that, I find.
That's right. Yeah. And that's it. The rules are there as a guideline. I know that when I'm sort of scrolling through some things, if they just keep going, they don't get to the point quick, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm done, go. So if you can get to the point quick in there so that you can hook your audience in, it's the same as when you're writing any sort of story. You've got to get them in that first, sentence, really. So it's the same sort of principle. So yeah. Some of the risks of using social media, we did touch on this a little bit. It is hard to get your point across sometimes using just words. A lot of our language is not, a lot of our communication, is not just the words. The majority of our communication style is body language, and we lose that when we're just writing. And it can be very, very difficult to portray what it is. So write it, rewrite it, get someone else to read it if it's an important piece, to make sure that they understand it the way you're trying to say it. So it can be a little bit challenging, but we'll have a look at ChatGPT to see if that can help us in a little bit. Disagreements, which we've just touched on, and customer complaints, definitely don't argue with people. Just keep kindness in the forefront of any interactions online, and always say, we're sorry that you feel that way, we're sorry that you've had that experience, please get in touch by email or however you want the contact to be made. Please send us a message so that we can investigate further and understand what happened and work towards resolving this for you. And then that's up to them to get in touch from there. So, okay. Right, so free tools, there's all sorts. The Canva's pretty much, everything you need these days is in Canva, but you have got things like Windows Movie Maker on a Windows machine, or iMovie if you're using an iPad or a Mac. You can do your scheduling post. The text to image in Canva is really good, but there are other options for that if you want. And that brings us to our ChatGPT. So we'll have a very quick look at ChatGPT. This has been out since November last year, and I've done a couple of sessions. So I've just harvested a couple of the slides out of there. So this is an amazing tool for small businesses to maximize our efficiencies. So what is it? It is machine learning. It's an artificial intelligence language model, and it has been created. I kind of talk of it being kind of like Google on, like, next level Google sort of thing, because we do. Sorry?
Google on steroids.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. So it's designed to generate human-like responses to our queries. And if you've ever used the chat help on a website, it's pretty much been the precursor of ChatGPT with bots. And so AI, if anyone's on Snapchat, there's a My AI in there, and that's created a persona, I suppose. And what that persona is doing is it's learning about you with every interaction. So that's machine learning. It's just like when you Google for something, Google's remembered what you searched for before, and so you're going to get more and more relevant results for you the more you use it. This is exactly the same. We're already using this so far as to talk to Siri or Google. So I could say, hey Siri, what's the weather like in Kununurra today? And she's going to tell me.
Expect some clear skies today. Daytime temperatures will hover around 32 degrees with overnight lows around 16.
So that's the Siri and Google Assistant, etc., are the precursors to ChatGPT. So it's giving me a natural language response to a question that in the early days of searching online, I would have had to have typed in weather, Kununurra today. And so now it's easier for me to just say, hey, what's the weather going to be like in Kununurra today? So, and it can understand the context of a conversation, and it technically can hold a conversation with you. So if anyone's got the little Google Home Minis or the Home Pods from Apple, etc., you could ask them for a joke. let's see if Siri's got a joke for us. Hey Siri, have you got a joke for us today?
What did the electromagnetic wave say at the magnetic field party? This is a vibe.
It's a bit highbrow today, but those are the sorts of things that you can do. It's creating a persona that you can engage with. Now, that's all well and good, but what does that mean for us in small business? How can we use this rather than just asking for it to tell us jokes or what the weather is? So artificial intelligence in ChatGPT has been taught all of what was on the internet up until the end of 2021. So it's harvested all of that worldly intelligence and it will generate responses based on that. So if you're asking things that have happened past the end of 2021, it's not necessarily going to be accurate. And it also does give you a warning that it can have biases in some of the pieces that it writes. It can have limited understanding, etc. So don't take it all as gospel. You do need to check your facts if you're looking for factual things. But for somebody like me who's using it to create captions for social media posts or to write an SEO-rich introduction for a website, etc., it's amazing for that sort of stuff. So you can ask it to problem solve. It can do your maths for you if you're not a fan of maths. Really good to help the kids' homework. It can even write code and so forth. So there's a whole bunch of applications available there. So they use algorithms, which Facebook uses algorithms, Google uses algorithms. That's how the world of information works these days, is using algorithms, which goes back to maths, I suppose. It's a bit like having a dog that has already been trained. You can sign into your Google account or Facebook. Oh no, that was an activity that we were doing. So you can sign in using Google or Apple or anything like that. So what can we use it for in small business? Tash, you had a question before, so we'll come back to that. These are just some of my brain dump ideas that I've used it for. You can create social media posts and blogs. You can have it help create policies and procedures for your business. So they're always the most fun things to do, not. You can have it draft up an agreement between yourself and a supplier or yourself and a customer. I would still recommend getting it checked if you're concerned about legalities, getting it checked by a lawyer. It might save you some money though, because you have the base written. They don't have to write it from scratch. So you could take it and say, can you please check this and advise if this is adequate to cover myself and my supplier and so forth. You can have it answer some questions, but again, verify anything that it gives you just in case. Yeah, and there are some limitations and it can be used for free, but there is also a paid subscription as with anything. So you can plug it into your website and so forth. So there's a whole bunch of other next level things, but I thought what we might do this morning, Tash, if we've got some time, is ask my chat to write us something. So what would you like this to write for us, Tash?
Well, I want to, this was a tricky animation to put together because it's something that I'm going to try and keep Aboriginal people happy with, right? And then I'm going to keep every other Australian happy with as well. So I want to say, it's factually true to say Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, occupied this continent first. It's a land of, it's a home of 27 million people. We're living in the southern hemisphere. We're a successful democracy. We come from all walks of life. Like a really inspirational summary to this animation. I don't know how you ask this artificial intelligence to do that, but
so that's the skill that we need to develop as small business owners. So write a closing statement to acknowledge that Australia was inhabited by Aboriginal people before colonisation.
Yes.
It needs to include the fact that there are now 27 million, are there? No.
Yeah, 27 million, nearly
27 million Australians.
18
Well-
million 18 million people eligible for voting.
With 18 million of those eligible to vote.
Yeah. I don't think we're technically classified as an island for some reason. Like we are an island. But
No,
I
we
don't know.
are. We're a continent and an island.
We're both. Okay.
Yeah. Right at closing statement acknowledge Australia was inhabited by Aboriginal people before colonisation. It needs to include the fact that there are now 27 million Australians.
Yeah.
From
All walks of life.
From all walks of life.
Yeah.
And many different
languages, many cultures, many languages, and through our diversity, we are strong together as Australians.
Oops. It should also mention that there are 18 million of those eligible to vote. And what was the last thing that you just said?
Our diversity makes us strong.
It should also
it makes us strong. Well, diversity anywhere makes us strong.
About the fact that our diversity makes us strong.
And that we do live in a country that does run a very successful democracy, where every person, every eligible voter has one vote. Your one vote, one say. Can't have 10 votes.
Okay, so let's see what this punches out with that little brain dump there. So it does get a little bit sort of wishy-washy. So it's always a good idea to sort of do your brain dump, have a look at that, give it a bit of feedback. See, it's going to be very wordy as well. So this has gone a little bit OTT. So we could go back and change the parameters and say, right, 100 words or less, or 200 words or less, blah, blah, blah. And so this is what it's punched out. And it's always a good idea to get this and then work with that from there, or rewrite the second paragraph or rewrite the first paragraph.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Can you cut and paste that? Can you put that in a Word email to me?
Sure, I can actually share with you now. And you can see in here, you've got the option to rate whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, and what it's, and it will ask you what's good about that or what's bad about it, because it is still constantly learning and it's trying to become as user-friendly as it can be and giving us what we need. So I'm going to share that with you over here, Tash. So that will go, copy the link, and I'll put that in the chat panel for you, Tash. So you should be able to go and open that. I'm not sure how that will go. It'll stay in my chat. So if it doesn't come through, let me know. I can through to you in a different way. So
probably, an email would work. An email would work.
All right. You can see how quickly that wrote that. So if I'm trying to write a blog post about a specific topic, I can brain dump my ideas in there and ask it to write a 300-word blog post or a 200-word blog post using SEO-rich terms for a business that's blah, blah, blah. So, there are lots of applications in there for small business that make sense. Like, I'm very, very bad at writing blogs for my business. I know that I should do it. I know that it would be great for business, but I just don't make myself do it. I have all these ideas, and they're sort of out there, but it used to take me a long time to sit down and go, right, I just need to gather my thoughts, and I'd write it on my iPad, and then I'd edit, and then I'd tweak it again, and then I'd post it. So it could be up to a half-day process to write one blog post. Here, I could probably do that in an hour or so now. Yeah. Good, but I don't. So my...
You still don't.
I know. Do as I say, not as I do. I know all the things everyone should do to be successful online, but doesn't mean that I do them all of the time. So yeah, so that's just a very quick overview of ChatGPT and some of the things that we can achieve with it as a small business. So I do though really want to talk about cybersecurity, because that is a really important part of having a digital presence or using digital tools for our businesses at the moment. So some of the biggest risks are weak passwords, outdated software. So I know everyone hates doing updates, but they're super important. It's like leaving the door open for the baddies if we don't do our updates regularly. The cyber criminals prey on time poor people, so we need to really look at things, and they're becoming more and more professional looking when you're getting dodgy looking emails or dodgy looking text messages, or you're getting a phone call, and sometimes it's just the perfect timing. They might ring you and say, oh, your computer's running really slow. Well, like, duh, we're in Kununurra. So things are always running slow. So sometimes they can capture you and you think, oh, that might be right. But, you know, you just need to be super aware. Don't ever give out personal information on a cold call phone call, even if it's Telstra, unless you've made that call to a number you know is Telstra. When they ask me to identify myself, if they've called me, I just say, no, my policy is that I don't give out that personal information when you've called me. So, and most of the time Telstra are fine with that. You would say to them, if you can't proceed without that information, give me your name and reference number for this call, and I will call back on a number that I know and trust. So there are a few things that we can do to protect ourselves, and it's okay to say, no, I'm not comfortable giving out that information. So yeah.
But Natika, how much more now are these people going to have to change their policies and way that they operate? Because that's precisely what they do. Tell us your name. They've called you, tell us your name. But now with everything going on, especially with AI, this is going to boom, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's super important for us to pay attention. The Facebook marketplace scams have been doing the rounds a fair bit, and they're pulling on the heartstrings. There's posts of hurt animals or old people that are lost, and it's not real. You've just got to take the time before you share things. Make sure that you can verify that that's actually the truth. My theory, my rule for myself, actually, even on my personal profile, I don't share anything unless, particularly with missing persons and those sorts of things, I don't share unless it's come from a police authority Facebook page that I know is the legit page, and I don't share information if I can't verify it myself. So, you know, it's really hard, because all of these things are designed to play on our sympathies, and quite often people are quite busy, so we're sort of flitting through social media and we think, oh, that poor dog, boom, and share, but it's on a group that hasn't got any admins on it, and it's a dodgy post from a dodgy profile, and there's a whole bunch of things in there that we just need to be paying attention. The emails and the text messages are probably the ones, or there's the ones where you're getting a text saying, oh, hi mum, I've lost my phone, can you just text me back? I need some money, I'm at Coles, I need $50, can you put it in this account because my bank's shut, or something like that. So many people are getting stung with those things because they're just, I don't know. What I do with the hey mum ones or hey dad ones, I just text back and go, what's the password? And they soon leave me alone. So if you create a password with your adult kids or your teenagers or something like that, and my daughter's often done that, text me, mum, I'm out of credit, can you blah blah, but she'll always tell me it's and give me her name. So, you know, that's something else you could put back and go, okay, what's your name? And if they know that, say, what's your middle name? Or a password or something like that. Have a protocol with your kids so that you know that it's not them.
Good strategy.
Yeah, there's some pretty awful people out there. The forgotten passwords, they're a bit of a pain in the backside because you need to have passwords that are different for everything, because if they're the same for everything and they get that, then they've got access to everything. So it's really important to have passwords that are secure, but are not the same for everything. And I know that that's easier said than done as well, but create a passphrase that changes. For example, don't use this one, but, you know, for example, this is my Facebook password. So it would be, you might have every last letter is a capital and every I is a number 1, or an exclamation mark is an I. Instead of an I, you put an exclamation mark. So that's your special character. And then every E is a number 3, so that you've got a formula that you know. And so every password changes, but it's the same, if that makes sense, so that you can remember the formula. And things like Apple's keychain is a great option. Google will remember your passwords if you've got a Google account. Firefox will do the same. So just don't forget the overarching password for that, because that could end badly with all of your passwords in there. And the other thing to do is to set up multi-factor authentication. So if you haven't heard of multi-factor authentication, that is when you have either an app on your phone. So I've got one called Authy. You can see that at the top there. So this one here, and it generates, I don't know if I can touch that, it generates single-use codes for certain accounts. So you can see in there that there are Facebook, there's Microsoft, I've got LinkedIn, I've got Google, Firefox, etc. So those little 6-digit codes only last 30 seconds and then they regenerate. And so the accounts that you've got multi-factor turned on using an authenticator app then know, they talk to the app that you, or the account that you're trying to get into, and it changes every 30 seconds. So someone's got to be pretty quick with your code to get into that. So they're a great way. Or you can use your phone number for an SMS. I would recommend having your mobile phone as well as an authenticator app option if that's available for multi-factor for any really important accounts, so that if you lose your phone, you can still get your phone number, get the text messages in on that. And if you're locked out of your authenticator app, then you've got the text messages, or vice versa. The authenticator apps are better, they're more secure for you than the SMS, because people can mimic those phone numbers. So it's just, sometimes it seems like it's never ending, but we need to take every step that we can to try and protect our stuff. Now that also goes for our clients' information, because once you've got someone's name and phone number, or name and email address, you have their personal information. So we need to take steps to protect their personal information. And so if you are in a business that has staff, one of the most important things is to make sure that they're across potential scams, etc., so that they're aware and they look at things with a suspicious eye, I suppose, and make sure that they don't act quickly on things, because a lot of these scams will prey on people's, oh, if you don't do this now, you're going to get fined, or you're going to this, or you're going to that. And so they send you into a bit of a panic so that you act quickly without stopping and thinking about things. So that's a really important thing to put across to your staff. If you have other staff, don't click on things. If it says this, then create some protocols of what they need to do. So teach them what to look for, teach them about phishing and Facebook profiles being dodgy and all that sort of stuff. And again, if you're not sure of any of this and you want to have a session on that, then please do sing out. The Small Business Local program is available for free for anyone in the Kimberley. And you've got access to myself as well as a whole bunch of other business advisors who can help with all sorts of different topics. This is obviously my specialty, so yeah, we can go through your bits and pieces and see whether things are good enough. We had a look for your password. I usually put up a slide to show people how long it takes to crack a password in 2023, and if you've got a 4-digit password, it's less than a second, because they have algorithms running through trying to crack passwords. So try and make sure that you put at least 9 characters in, have a capital, have a lowercase, have a number, and have a special character. And even 9, that can be done in 3 years or something like that. So you want to be changing them. So I know it's a pain, but it's something that's really important that we need to do. Multi-factor we talked about. It's like having a second set of keys to open the door. So you put your password in and then you get a text message or a code on your authenticator app to make sure. And then again, making sure that you have software updates done, because that is really important, because quite often those software updates are to patch gaps in the software so that people baddies can't get in there. So, all right, I think that is about all that I have to say. We can talk about encryption. So that's making sure that your communications are encrypted both ends. And if you're using Google or Microsoft for your emails, etc., then you're pretty good. So I wouldn't worry too much about going too far, but make sure you use a reputable email service, and that will make sure that anything that you do across the internet potentially can be accessed by someone else, someone way smarter than me. I wouldn't have a clue how to do it, but make sure that you're using services that provide these sorts of things on there.